I'm Jackie Hofsis, the co-chair of the parent-teacher organization at Boylston Elementary School.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Burns, the president of Link Inc., the parent-teacher organization at Berlin Memorial Elementary. Jackie and I are joined this evening and have been joined throughout this budget learning adventure by the members of our two PTOs, as well as the leadership teams of Tohoto Stags, the BES Boylston Education Foundation, and CPAC, our special education parent group. Together, we've done our best to learn all that we can about both the district budgeting process as well as our town budgeting processes, and have put together this forum to share with you what we've learned and where the joint PTOs stand come voting night, Monday, May 1st. This is not a discussion on the merits of either the district budget or the town's financing priorities. This is a parent's perspective on the budget needed to enable our educators to do their jobs for our children next year.
This year's budget is similar to all previous years' budget in that it addresses both capital improvement needs and operating budget needs. What is unique about this? What is unique is that our new acting superintendent also started the process of identifying improvements that will ultimately impact the curriculum and the student support services for years to come. The budget was presented to the school committee for its review and then shared with each of the town's select board and financial committees. The budget highlighted a much greater set of needs than either town expected and started the journey where we're all on now of scaling back the budget to become a level service budget. A budget that allows our schools to offer the same level of services next year that our students received this year.
Along with the level service, 5 additional staff positions were identified as necessary in order to meet the students' needs in these particular service areas in the upcoming school year. These positions are 1 full-time assistant principal at Tohoto Middle School, 3 full-time kindergarten instructional aides at BES, and 1 full-time board-certified behavioral analyst for the district. So, level service operating, along with these 5 staff positions, means that our school district needs for the coming year amount of $22,560,598. That is an increase of 18% over last year's budget.
Why is there such a significant increase in the budget, you may be wondering? Inflation drives utility costs up 30%. Healthcare for our teachers and staff is up 10%. These costs alone would account for much, but our schools have aging HVAC systems and roofs, so teachers can teach and students can learn in a safe and healthy environment. Students are taking MCAS tests on Chromebooks that are missing letter keys. Our staff is stretched thin and meeting the learning needs of all of our students. And the state authorized providers of special education services to increase what they charge for services by 14%, but they did not change the portion of that expense the state pays back to the districts. This state-created challenge is being felt in districts across the Commonwealth. This special education cost was the driver for the letter writing campaign we asked all of you to participate in. And we've begun hearing from our representatives that they are receiving your letters and are preparing to bring your voices to the state legislature. Thank you for participating.
The full district budget is broken down into costs associated with Berlin Memorial, paid for by the town of Berlin, Boylston Elementary School, paid for by the town of Boylston, and Tohoto is split between both towns based on the percentages of students enrolled from each town. We'd now like to introduce Carol Costello, Acting Superintendent, to say a little more about the district budget and meeting our students' need. Please help me welcome Carol Costello.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start first by thanking Kyle and Jackie for the hours that they put into coordinating this presentation on behalf of our communities and with our parent-teacher organizations, our parent organizations. So I would ask us to give them a hand for everything. Thank you. Thank you. I think that they truly represent the commitment and the care that these parents in our district have for our children, for our staff. And what I love about this opportunity is it speaks to the coming together of our two communities of Berlin and Boylston, and representing not those separate towns, but one district. Because I keep emphasizing, and we're all emphasizing, we are now one school district. We're united under that. Our teachers are united, our administrators are united under that, and so is our parent groups. And we see more and more of that every week, every time we get together. So I thank everyone who was involved in this, putting this night together, and all of you for coming this evening as parents, grandparents, because I think it's important when you come to the town meetings next week that you understand what you're voting for. And I've sat through in my 15 years here meetings every single year, and I'm honestly not sure if everybody really understands what you're voting on. You get a number and you vote. But we've had opportunities this year to understand better what this means for our children and for our town. So it's very, very important, I think, that you're here this evening. You have information given to you, and you're going to hear, you heard from Jackie and Kyle, now you're going to hear in a few minutes from our staff in the two schools. This budget vote coming up this year is very important to us. It addresses our needs on behalf of our children in these two towns, our communities. Really, from the very beginning, it's been all about them, for us. And their dedicated staff that's working with them. If they don't have what they need to teach our children, then we are not going to have the quality education that our children deserve and that we want to be able to give them collectively. This time since the summer, we have sat for countless hours creating a 3-year district improvement plan that identified specific needs over a 3-year period of time. We spent hours together as subcommittees for our school committee, looking at and fleshing out what are our priorities for this year going to be. I think in the end, what we're trying to do is create an opportunity here of identifying what we need right now. It's not the extra bells and whistles, it's not the wants, the desires, but truly what will help us function in our schools for the coming year. In addition, we've been meeting, after we put this budget together, the school committee voted on the preliminary budget. We took this out to our parent community. We took this out to countless groups, including the parents, including community members, including the townspeople, and the government bodies. And there's some representatives from that here tonight, from the government bodies in the two schools, the selectmen and the finance committees, and really worked hard together to come up with compromises that we worked on, commitments to one another, and truly kind of fleshing out what is this all about for the two towns. So I think as you listen to the presentations tonight from our teachers, from our administrators, that's what this is all about in its purest form. You've seen me enough times this year. You've heard from me in addition to snow calls. You've heard from me many times. You've heard the school committee talking. You've heard the governing bodies. Now it's time to really listen to the people that matter here, other than our children who should be getting ready for bed right now. You're going to hear from the teachers who work with them and the principals who run our schools. So I'm going to turn this over right now to John. I think it's John Campbell. Oh, okay. They're taking over. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carol. Next, we have our school principals to share a bit more about the additional staff needed for next year. First up is John Campbell, the principal of Berlin Memorial Elementary School, to speak on the need for the district-wide board-certified behavioral analyst. Please help me welcome John Campbell. And Janelle.
Thank you all for Sure. Thank you all for coming this evening. My name is Janelle Fitzpatrick. I'm the Pupil Personnel Services Director. As was mentioned, we have a need for an additional BCBA in the district. BCBA is a board certified behavior analyst. Right now we have one in the district that services all students pre-K through 12. BCBAs specialize in addressing unsafe and challenging behaviors, and we have really exceeded the need or the ability for one person to be able to service all of those needs in the district. So individual students need those services and classrooms need those services so that they can run smoothly and effectively. An additional BCBA will give us the opportunity to provide additional training, additional student support, and just additional support overall for student wellness.
Just to kind of tag onto that a little bit, as an elementary school principal, and before I go any further, elementary school principals never get applauded, so thank you very much for that. One of the things that we've learned, especially post-COVID, is how important attending behavior is. I was just talking with some candidates for a job. Behavior is always communication, and one of the things that BCBAs do best is help us as principals and as teachers to better understand student behavior. Not only understand the behavior, but understand effective ways to intervene. It turns out that just yelling at children does not work. So we have experts come in who can show us a more effective strategy. We've had one here for 6 years?
So.
And it was just, she was constantly on the move. This is, I think, of all of the changes, of all the additions, I think this is the one I feel most strongly about it as an essential need for our schools.
Our needs have changed. As our population and as our community has grown, our need for staffing has changed. To have that same staffing level that we did 6 to 10 years ago, we know things change over time, and this is one of those areas.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, John and Janelle. Next, the interim principal of Boylston Elementary School, Dawn Marie Ailes, as well, will speak to the need that BES has for 3 kindergarten instructional aides. Please help me welcome Dawn Marie.
As the saying goes, everything I need to know, I learned in kindergarten. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak on behalf of our kindergarten students. I'm here tonight with Brianna Pascal and Dawn Cody, who are 2 of our kindergarten teachers. We are here to advocate for the 3 kindergarten aides in the BES upcoming budget. As of today, we have 60 students registered for the fall at Boylston Elementary School for kindergarten. This means that each of our 3 K classrooms will be filled with 20, I'm confident, adorable, 5-year-olds. This is a ratio of 1 adult for 20 students. Research is clear that brain development impacts a child's ability to learn as they grow. In order to maximize the early years of learning, both academically, socially, and emotionally, and to combat the lingering effects of the pandemic, we need to provide all students the most effective early learning environment. The way we counteract large class sizes is by adding an additional adult, a kindergarten aide. This is to support students while a teacher provides direct instruction to small groups. This is a crucial part of our students' success and why it is a need, not a want, in the proposed budget. Please consider our youngest learners by supporting the addition of the 3 kindergarten aides at Boylston Elementary School.
Thank you, Dawn Marie. But no, we're not doing questions. Thank you. Finally, we have the interim principal of Tohoto, Sally Stukels, to speak for the need for an assistant principal for the middle school at Tohoto. Please help me welcome Sally Stukels.
Good evening. I'm Sally Ann Stukels, interim principal here at Tohoto, and I've brought with me Lisa Sequeira, who currently serves as our bio teacher and department head, but also will be taking over as principal as of July. And we're here to talk about the need for the additional assistant principal at Tohoto Regional. So currently we have one principal and one assistant principal, and we are responsible for just over 540 students and over 80 staff in the middle high school.
So with the number of students and staff at Tohoto, the two current administrators are sharing many of the operational, instructional, and disciplinary responsibility among two people. What roles do assistant principals and principals perform throughout the day? Evaluations of faculty and staff, MCAS and Ames Web coordination for testing, scheduling, discipline, operations and facilities management, substitute coverage, student and staff attendance, student, staff, and parent concerns. We also coordinate and attend many events.
Some of those events involved proms and dances, graduations, 8th grade recognition, honor society inductions, plays, concerts, all sorts of events, sporting events, conferences, professional development. We could go on and on. There's many types of events that we attend.
And I think it's really important to understand it's essential, not a wish, for administrators to be at these events, to be leaders within the community to guide our families and our students.
And so although we are one school and we strive for that environment of unity, the fact is that we actually house a middle and a high school together in the same building. And in many ways, they are completely different environments and they provide different experiences for our students. So a second assistant principal would allow one assistant principal to concentrate more on the high school and the other to concentrate more on the middle school. It would also allow the principal to have a greater focus on academics and instruction, and would give each assistant principal more time to work with their respective schools regarding all the responsibilities that we just mentioned involved in these roles. An example of that would be that a second assistant principal, for instance, would be able to have the time to work with the middle school regarding social emotional curriculum, a potential advisory, PBIS efforts for behavioral management, in addition to working to develop a middle school curriculum that reflects a personalized and project-based learning. So this is why we would like you to consider the second assistant principal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sally. Our teachers are the lifeblood of our students' school experience. With their encouragement, commitment, and expertise, our students learn and feel the full support of our school and our school community. We are so grateful for their efforts every single day, and they know most specifically how a level service budget will meet our students' needs. To share the teacher perspective on meeting a level service budget, please help me welcome Stephanie Woodward from Berlin Memorial and Brianna Pascal from BES.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Woodward, the instructional coach. I actually worked at two different schools. I work at Boylston Elementary and Berlin Elementary, and I have the pleasure to go in many classrooms and work with teachers. And one of the things that level funding will help us with is to maintain the classrooms, the actual classrooms, and keeping the numbers low. So when I go in and I work with teachers to model lessons or model small groups, if we start combining classrooms and our numbers get higher, our small groups aren't going to be small groups. You're just going to be breaking your large class into large groups. So I hope that's one of the things that you think about, because they talked about a couple positions that they're adding, but really level funding is maintaining those classroom teacher positions and making sure that we continue to have those small classrooms that the children thrive in, and that they come to expect to come in and get individual attention because it is such a small classroom.
Hi, I'm Brianna Pasquale. Just to piggyback on that, Again, maintaining level service budget, that is keeping our class sizes down, like Stephanie mentioned. If this budget does not go forward, that means cutting staff. Over the past couple of years, we've really acquired some really great new staff, staff that are, coming in for the children, supporting them, younger staff that are just excited to come, and it would really be a devastation to have to let go of so many staff, shifting around staff members, increasing those class sizes. And I know Dawn Marie spoke so well about the kindergarten. I'm also here to help get that message out as well. This is my 21st year teaching kindergarten in Boylston, and this is by far the highest number of registered kindergartners at 60. It's April. I can promise you that number is going to go up. We have people that aren't on the census. We have siblings that maybe just forgot to register. We're doing our best to get all of those numbers ahead of time, but I can promise you that number is going to go up. So helping fund this budget, having the additional instructional aides to help with that will be a tremendous help for our youngest learners. It's their first school experience. We really want to keep those numbers down, and even 20 is a lot, and I know that number is going to go up, but having that additional support, just thinking to the fall when they're coming to school, for the first time, some of them, they're 5, they're young. We work and we continue to work with that social emotional curriculum to help get them independent, but it really does take a lot of time to get them to that point. And having another consistent adult in the classroom will really help with that. So thank you for listening. I don't know, Stephanie, if you have anything else to add, but
I think that's great. It's a large consideration, but level funding really will help all the children. I think that's what we hope to get across to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie and Brianna. Now you should have a pretty solid primer for what our school district needs to meet next year's budget requirements. So what's next? We all need to understand how our towns fund schools and all town functions, and what the process is for how we as voters participate. Collectively, the leadership teams from the parent-teacher organizations in our district have attended meetings, reached out and connected with our respective town leaders, and done all we can to learn about town finances and taxpayer dollars. What we've learned is that a majority of our town's finances are in fact given to the education of our students. We also know that our towns have worked really hard to address the unexpected increase in the school district budget and protect our students' ability to learn. We all want the same thing, a good quality education for all students and residents in our towns. The only question is how to fund all these identified needs. For the town of Boylston, our finance committee has recommended a budget that uses taxpayer dollars to cover the level service budget, but not include the new staffing positions. The difference in what they're recommending in their budget and what the school and what is needed for the Boylston portion of the district is $270,767. In order for the district budget to be funded with that additional funds, what we need to do is vote yes to the school committee recommended budget. See the picture of the Boylston Town warrant and the budgets listed in your Boylston cheat sheet handed out when you came in this evening. Additional copies are available as you exit. The school budget vote is listed in the town meeting agenda. In conversation with select board members, we learned that the reason for that is there are earlier articles that may impact the overall town budget. This article asks voters to vote to use free cash to pay for a part of the town budget, thereby lowering the overall tax rate increase. If taxpayers vote to use free cash to lower the tax rate, it becomes easier to vote yes for the full school committee recommended budget. Regardless of all previous votes taken, please remember to vote yes to the school committee budget and no to any budget lower than the school committee recommended budget.
Berlin residents, it's our turn to talk about the town meeting. The town warrant that was mailed to all households recently, in fact, has 2 recommended budgets for education costs. The Finance Committee recommended budget, as well as the School Committee recommended budget. Since that publication, however, conversations have continued between our town leadership and the district leadership, and new monies have been unexpectedly procured for the town. To that end, there will be an amendment offered at the town meeting that will bring the two budget recommendations into alignment. The amendment will state something to the effect that the town of Berlin will utilize free cash to meet the gap in recommended budgets. Though we've not been able to get the exact language of the amendment, listen for the amendment. We ask that Berlin voters vote yes to support this amendment, which in turn allows us to vote yes to support the school committee recommended budget. The call to action for all of us, the joint communities that support students in our Berlin and Boylston School District, is to mark your calendar for the town meetings being held this coming Monday, May 1st. You must be in attendance to vote, and having all of your home's registered voters present is preferable. The Berlin town meeting will be held at the gym at BMS starting at 7:30 p.m. Link has been working with Tohonto's National Honor Society and Leo's Club to provide babysitting services for a movie night and game night for all kids between the ages of 3 and 12. Drop-off starts at 7:15 p.m. in the cafeteria at BMS, conveniently located. There is a sign-up list on the Link website at bmslink.org. Please sign your kids up so we know how many sitters to provide.
The Boylston Town Meeting will be held here at Tohonto in this very auditorium starting at 7 p.m. The Leo's Club will provide childcare in the Tohonto gym. Drop-off starts at 6:45 for all kids between the ages of 3 and 12. There is a sign-up genius that you can find on the BES PTO Facebook page and on your cheat sheet.
We know you may have questions about the school budget. Those questions should be addressed to the school committee. Any questions you have about the town's budgets should be taken up with the town select boards. Contact information for all groups is provided on your town's cheat sheet. We hope that you found this forum to be educational and that we, as the parents, guardians, and families within our BBRSD community, can work together to vote to support all of our students across the district. We'd also like to do a quick thank you to our administrators and our teachers for being here to share with all of us the real story of what happens in our schools every day. I know mine gets on a bus and I wave goodbye, and then we go to soccer practice later, so they hang out with him.
Also, before we adjourn for the evening, I'd like to have all the members of all the parent-teacher organizations from the district please stand and be recognized for your leadership in this effort. We have the leadership teams of the Boylston Education Foundation, CPAC, Tohonto Stags, Link Inc., and BES PTO. Thank you all. We'll see you all at the town meeting on May 1st. Have a good night.